The Denver Nuggets are about to kick off the post-All-Star break portion of their schedule. 27 games on tap before the end of the regular season. I'm with my guy Swipa here. Swipa, what are you looking forward to most about the beginning of the next 27 games?
Well, number one, glad you're back, Ryan, Mr. Vacation Man himself, flying around the world. Uh, I think the Nuggets, man, this is the time to put their foot to the metal for a little bit. They're going to have 7 of their first 10 games coming out of the break are going to be at home. 7 out of 10. This is a way for them to really establish their dominance. This is a team that's been really dominant at home. They've lost 5 games. That last game doesn't really count. They basically didn't play with any energy, any effort. Prior to that, they lost 4 games all year. So this will be an opportunity for them to catch up in the standings, to be able to get back to where they want to be. But on top of that, Ryan, they played the Minnesota Timberwolves 3 times through March and April. And 2 of those games are also going to be at home. So you want to talk about gaining ground. They can gain ground on the 1 and 2 seed, and they can put a stranglehold on that number 1 seed if they can take care of business versus Minnesota. So I'm excited, man. They got some really good games. They opened up with the Wizards and Trailblazers. But right after that, they got the Warriors, the Kings, the Heat, the Lakers, the Suns, and the Celtics in 6 straight games. And most of these games are going to be at home as well. So you want to talk about an opportunity to let the record be known and really just set it straight and tell everybody we are the champions. We're going to come into the playoff with, look, y'all thought it was sweet last year, 16-4. We're bringing that same energy this year. I think it'd be a great opportunity for them to do so.
Yeah, so some numbers there to really hammer home that point. Denver's 36-19 right now in their first 55 games. Minnesota's the first seed right now at 39-16. So Denver's 3 games back of them. OKC, the LA Clippers, they are at 2 and 3 respectively. But you go down the standings a little bit, and Dallas is currently at 32-23. They are only 4 games back of where Denver is right now. Now, I'm not saying that Denver's going to drop to the play-in tournament or anything like that, but it is a possibility. Denver is 3 games back of the 1 seed, but they're only 4 games up on the play-in. All of these games are going to matter. And so to your point, this is a really important time for Denver where, yeah, they've got a relatively easy schedule, I would say, over the course of these next 27 to really hone in, to really get themselves going. But every game's going to matter here down the stretch. And you mentioned some of those Minnesota games. Denver has an opportunity to really climb the standings if they win those, because the only way that you're going to climb is if you win games and the other team doesn't. So they can do that. They can double dip a little bit in those Minnesota games. They've also got a game against the LA Clippers on April 4th. They've got 3 games, as you mentioned, against Minnesota. So there's a lot of opportunities for Denver to climb the standings, but also if they don't manage to win, there's a lot of other teams behind them that are currently playing really, really well, and they could potentially fall in the standings too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't see that happening just because they've already trolled. Like you're not allowed to do that 3 times. They did it once in December, lost 3 straight, the teams they shouldn't have lost to, and they just did it again and lost 3 straight, the team they shouldn't have lost to, the Kings twice, and then the Bucks, who can't get right because they beat Charlotte, beat Denver, and then they lost to the Memphis Grizzlies with nobody on the court after the Xavier Tillman trade. So they're not losing to teams that are just outright like better than them, or teams that are in a tough fight where you got some NBA championship level teams that are fighting. Like, by the way, Ryan, their net rating in the clutch just off that 1 Kings game went from a plus 25 to a plus 20. It sank 5 points in 1 game because their defense was abominable, because De'Aaron Fox was getting whatever he wanted with Justin Holiday on the court, obviously. So, Look, man, like, we all love the Nuggets. We love the players. We love Malone. We get it. Like, we know them. We've been around them for years, seen them for years, listened to them. They get to troll a couple times a year, and they get to not put the gas down a couple times a year. But Jokic, Murray, Porter, Gordon, KCP, Peyton Watson, Christian Brown, Reggie Jackson, DeAndre Jordan, Zeke Naji, Justin Holiday. You have to get it done. Simple fact. You don't want to be sitting here wondering, how are we fighting to stay in the 4th seed now down the stretch of the year, the last 3 games of the year? We got to go all out because we don't want to fall to the 5 seed. And you don't want to be in a situation where you're even fighting for that 3 seed, and you're too good to do that anyway. Again, right, I've been very clear about this. They, in the last 10 games from January 25th to February when they played versus the Kings, did you know the Denver Nuggets went 5-5 over the course of a 10-game stretch?
I certainly did. I was there.
Did you know that the Denver Nuggets had like a -5 net rating over the course of those 10 games?
That one I didn't know, but I understand it because they were losing some of these games in blowout fashion. I think one of those games, was against New York, where they lost by 38.
38-point loss.
That's a tough one. That's going to affect the net rating in a big way.
They were down by 29 to the Kings. They were down by 28 to the Bucks. They lost by 38 to the New York Knicks. Also, did you know they plummeted as an offense, went from 8 to 12 because of a 10-game stretch? So this is what I'm saying. They already did it. They've already shown their worst when they were absolutely not trying. They were in fights with the Washington Wizards because they just weren't willing to do whatever. So I think for me, it's just like, it's enough. You have to go out and get this done simply because you want to put yourself in the best situation possible. And, we're going to talk about him on the other side with Yoke, but Yoke, I know, we're doing all this other stuff, all-star breaking on. Hey, look, it's time to giddy up.
Time to get going. This team, it's time to get going for sure. They've got an opportunity to do it, though. And these next 27, we mentioned there are some tough games in there, but there are some easy games in there as well. Denver's going to play 10 games versus bottom 10 teams in the standings, teams that aren't in the playoff or the play-in or anything like that. They're also going to play 7 games versus play-in teams. So 17 of Denver's 27 games are against teams that are clearly kind of inferior to them at this stage. And they've got an opportunity. If they just went 17-10 over the course of these final 27, they'd probably be in pretty good shape. They'd be in pretty good shape. It's not like they would be perfect, but they're going to have to they're going to have some opportunities here, I would say, to really bone up on their record if they wanted to. But I will say this, Michael Malone speaking at practice over the course of these last couple of days, he's serious. He's definitely wanting to get the team right and get them going in the right direction, but he's also not looking at a specific record or a specific seeding or anything like that as really indicative of how the team is supposed to play. He's going to know, and the team's going to know what they need to do in order to win a championship, in order to be at the best possible place heading into the playoffs. I don't know if they need the 1 seed in order to do that. I don't know if they need the 2 seed in order to do that, but they need to be playing the right way, which means, like you said, just not trolling and getting serious.
Let me ask you this. 27 games, 15 at home, 12 away. What would be your guesstimate for what their final record is going to be over the last 27 games? Because I have an answer in mind.
Okay. Right now they're 36-19. If they went, like I said, if they went 17-10, that they would match last year's record at 53-29. Their numbers are basically identical to what they were last year from a net rating standpoint, from an overall standpoint, a record standpoint. And if that were the case, then I think they'd be okay. I kind of want them to push a little bit harder than that, though. I think that, in my opinion, they should be shooting for 19-8. If they were able to get to that point and win 55 games on the year, I'd feel a lot better about it because it shows a little bit more consistency. It shows a little bit more poise and a little bit more desire in this situation to really put your foot on the gas and play the best basketball that you can. So 19-8 is the number that I'd be going for, especially because Denver's got a relatively easy road.
Yeah. The number I have is going to be 19-8, and I think at the worst 18-9. And I've said this on multiple platforms now. I think that based on what they have in front of them, based on the needs in front of them, you have the opportunity to do so. This doesn't mean you got to be perfect every game, but I think especially versus the lower level teams and high level teams, when you know you have to execute at a high level for the better teams, and when you know you got to take care of business from some of these lower seeds, just no point, because I think you want to get into the playoff with a rhythm. Because again, when the play-in comes around, if you're taking care of business, you get a few days off anyway. So you'll have the All-Star break, you'll have the 27 games, you'll have a small break, and then you'll lead into the NBA playoffs. And, we'll see who they end up matching with from there. But I think the Nuggets should be shooting for that. I think 18-9 to 19-8 is more than fair, given the talent they have on the roster, given that they've already gone through their spills, where they went 14-4 at one point this year. They were 21-9 over a 30-game sample size as well this year. And so, it's not that they haven't done it. They've already done it. But now it's just about stacking those wins and making sure you're taking care of business on the flip side.
The other aspect of that is that Denver's only got 3 more back-to-backs on the season. They have 27 games left to play, obviously, but of those 3 back-to-backs, 2 of them are in the first 5 games. So they're going to be able to get those out of the way, and they're going to be able to get into a rhythm, and they're not going to have to go on the road that much. They've got 15 at home, 12 on the road. So you're going to be in a situation where you're going to be able to get into a rhythm. You're going to be comfortable. You're going to play consistent minutes, and you're going to play it against a variety of teams. But for the most part, it's a pretty evenly mixed schedule. I think Denver has a good opportunity here to start playing the version of basketball that they need to play in order to prove that they're a championship caliber team. Because I don't think that they've proven it yet. I think that there are certain aspects of the season that they've had. Okay, here's a game here, 2 games here. But for the most part, it has been pretty hit or miss in terms of the actual level of championship basketball that they've played. So I'm still looking for it. I think that they can hit another gear. And once they do that, then I'll feel a lot more comfortable heading into a playoffs.
I mean, I think they've already proven they can hit it. They were 18-9, some of those games without Jamal Murray in the clutch. And I think they've shown that, like, when it matters most, they've been able to put teams away. And I think that's the thing, is they have proven it in that when they needed to, they've done it. I think the situation for them, like versus OKC, for instance, in those 3 losses they have, I think the Nuggets were like, there's reasons why we lost those games. Remember, they closed with Christian Brown and Justin Holiday or Peyton Watson. One of them went early in the season. Then they had that blowout after the second night of back-to-back. And then they lost one of those games without Joker. So I just think the Nuggets feel really confident. And I think that's why the players are always kind of like, not giddy, but they're very relaxed after some of these losses. They're smiling on the bench because for them, they know when money time comes, we're going to outpunch you 4 times. And we don't think you can do it. We're not going to let you do it 4 times. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait.
The other thing is none of these other teams have really proven that they could do it on a consistent basis either. So there's a lot of time for Denver to rise to the top. There's a lot of other times for some of these other teams to falter. So I'm not really too stressed about it one way or the other. Denver, once they get to it, you know what they have. You know they've got Nikola Jokic and they've got Jamal Murray and they've got the formula that they need in order to outlast these other teams and solve the puzzle that they need to solve in order to advance. I think that they will. Last thing here, biggest game. What's the biggest game that you're looking forward to over these next 27? Because you could circle, I think, a number of these matchups, but what's one that stands out to you?
Well, I think the big one is the Celtics one. I think everybody's going to call that a finals preview. That would be a lot of fun. I think maybe that first game back versus the Timberwolves on March 19th, just because it's like you're going to be in Minnesota again. It might just be cool just to let them know, like, we see you, we recognize how hard you've worked, recognize how good you've been, but we're knocking on the door. And once we get here, even if we got to play in Minnesota, cool, bet, strap them up because it's about to be lights out. So I think those are the 2 games. I think that game versus the Celtics is going to be important, just especially for like the MVP conversation and all that stuff. For Jamal Murray as well, like just hit the narrative around him leading into the playoff. And I think that first Minnesota game as well.
That's a good one. The Celtics one is a good one too. I think I'm going to go Thursday, April 4th against the LA Clippers, where the last time you went into LA, it was fine, but Jokic went 9 of 32 in that game, and Denver just did not play the best version of basketball that they probably could have. So getting the taste out of your mouth on that one would be good. And just showing that you own the Clippers again would be I think the right call in this case. And that one could actually come down to a lot of seeding there because Denver's won 2 of those 3 games. If they win the third one, they clinch a tiebreaker. So that would be a very, very important matchup, or at least it could be heading down the stretch. That's just one of those ones that I'll be circling, waiting to see like whether Denver's at that level or not, because the Clippers, I think, have proven that they are over the course of these last 35 games or so. They've been great.
Yeah, we'll see. We're back at that place with the Clippers again. I like I said, I told everybody in November that they would be able to beat the Los Angeles Lakers in the series, and I saw this coming from them, but people, a little late to coming on board. So I don't know, man. Jokic is 7-2 now versus the Clippers since the 2021-2022 season, and they didn't change much, but Ivica Zubac, Mason Plumlee, and Daniel Tice. So I think for a lot of this is like cool. I think James Harden obviously is a big deal, but I think the Nuggets will feel very comfortable in that matchup. I just don't think they have any, even Kawhi and PG, they just don't have any fear for any of those players.
Yeah. That's fair. It's completely fair. They understand what they're getting into with that matchup, but it is also a tough one. So, look, Denver's
Hmm.
going to have a tough road. It's not going to be easy by any stretch of the word, but
Yeah, it's not gonna be easy now, but then you know what can happen if they make it look easy. Then it's gonna be like, oh, the West was fraudulent the whole year. Everybody knew that the Thunder, Clippers, and the Wolves weren't gonna beat the Nuggets.
that's the problem with being so good. So
That's what the Lakers. Remember, people were picking the Lakers and Suns last year. Now all of a sudden they suck.
yeah,
Every time I
yeah.
hear them talk about last year, oh, they were the 4th seed and the 7th seed. Like, what did you expect? All right.
So funny. People love to change the tune, especially when it comes to Joker. All right, well, hey, everybody, let us know what your most important game is heading down the stretch of the season. What record do you think you could get? You think the Nuggets will get over the course of their final 27 games? And how comfortable do you feel with Denver heading into this final stretch of the season? He's Swipa. I'm Ryan. We're out.